A lot of people say that speed loves success, right? And so let's see how true that really is, right? In just a few minutes here. So here's my background. I've had the opportunity to build a business from the ground up to doing billions of dollars every single year in payment processing, which involves working with just about every kind of business you can think of. Brick and mortar, your retail, your liquor store, your adult entertainment store, your dentist, your hospital, your doctor's office, grocery store, everything, all the way up to your online business, coaches, high tickets, low tickets, continuity, and it gives you a whole different perspective of how businesses run successfully. What are some of the things that prevent them from having success? Why do some have success? Like really, they shoot out like a rocket, and then they go down just as fast as an asteroid hits, is heading to the earth and crashes or whatever. And the one thing that I hear a lot of people say is speed loves success, speed loves success. And I'm not saying that that is not true, but it is not true in every case. And let's just take a minute here and just, think about it in logical terms, right? And let's try to use a little bit of science and philosophy to go along with that. Now, on a tactical level, absolutely, right? You want to get fed, you can't get fed with your mouth closed. That's basic, right? If you're talking about building a business, especially one that involves other people, their families, you have to put your name on the dotted line. You have to personally guarantee, meaning that you have to be responsible for whatever happens and the risk involved in that. That is definitely not a business where speed loves success. You need strategy. You need people who are way smarter than you surrounding you to help you make the right decision, because there's no way for you and I to see everything coming at us, especially if we're focusing on making money, paying the bills, handling our customers, our clients, making sure that they're happy as well. And you have to take care of your team, right? And so one way to look at some of the most complex things is to look at it from a different perspective. So as an example, like some people say, oh my God, I just can't grasp working in a business that does billions of dollars in sales revenue every year. It's almost the same as someone says, you know what, they walk into this like big infrastructure, this big house, and they say, there's no way that I can measure the ceiling. Like, how do they measure these ceilings, right? And if you want to measure the ceiling, you simply measure the floor, right? And you'll get what the measurements are of the ceiling. So it's like basically looking at some of the most simplest things to understand some of the bigger things. So let's take, for instance, relationships, right? And I'm going to step to the side here. This is my rendition of drawing, which is not that good. And so let's say you got a beautiful lady here, right? And try to make her look pretty. Ooh, that's not a pretty lady, right? We're going to give her some hair. And she doesn't have a great body, she's a stick figure, right? And let's just call her Renee, okay? Then you got a guy over here, okay? And we make him look a little bit ugly or whatever, right? And we're just gonna call him Jay. So these two people wanna get to know each other, right? Let's just call it intimacy. We put a heart right there. They wanna get to know each other. Jay is attracted to to Renee. Just imagine she has a nice figure, she's pretty, whatever. And so he's hearing everybody say, speed loves success, speed loves success. Go for it, right? Now, it depends on what you consider success. I consider being I think one of the most successful things you could do is have a great relationship with your significant other in your family, which you can't live with. That's like one of the most important things, and you can't get that education in any school or anywhere for the most part, right? That has to be something passed down through culture and through wise elders and community, all helping to support you. So I consider having a relationship one of the highest goals that I can accomplish. So the speed loves success. What happens if Jay just rushes in to Renee, right? Maybe overnight sex, and I'm not knocking anyone. If that's your thing, that's your thing. Or maybe she actually treats him like she's his wife. After 2 months, she's spending the night every night, she's cooking, basically giving him back rubs.
Ankles, Chandler's ankle hair.
She's doing all those things that maybe a wife would do for her husband. Like, she's really giving him, she's laying out the carpet. She hasn't waited, they haven't dated. She hasn't met his family, he hasn't met her family, but he's gotten all the goodies ahead of time. And some men may say, I'm like killing it for him, right? But they say speed loves success. what happens, and this is something that's super easy to think about yourself, what happens when two people rush into a relationship before they get to know each other, before they do their research, before they do their homework, before they meet the family?
Hi, Greg. I'm Pam's father, Jack Burns.
Yeah, it's great to finally meet you.
Good
And
meeting
I'm
you.
Dina.
They say the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, correct? So if Renee were to meet Jay's dad and see how Jay treats the mom, he may get a really good idea. Or if Renee were to meet Jay's mom and see how they correspond with each other, she would get a pretty good idea of what's headed for her. But they say speed, love, success. So we already know that won't work if they rush into it without doing their proper research. And here's the crazy thing. It's just a relationship, right? Those two should be able to make a decision by themselves, but they don't have experience like some of the wise elders. Some people have been married for 20 years, 30 years. Some people have 5 divorces. Maybe they could tell you what to do by listening to they could tell you what not to do by listening to what they've done, right? They need people around them in order to make this successful. So that's one example, right? Let's go to the next case. Let's say, they say speed, love, success. And you go out and you drive around and, ooh, this is an ugly house. But let's just say this is a house, right? Here's the door. There's a doorknob. And this is the house that you can afford. Let's just say it's $500K. Mortgage, let's say it was, a decent time, 2-3% mortgage, which is no longer the case. But let's just say you end up paying $2,500 a month, right? That's your mortgage for the month. You make about $10,000 a month, you should be able to knock that out, right? Now, let's say you're hearing someone say that speed, love, success, go ahead and get it, just jump on it. And you go out and you buy a $2 million home. And this is a huge house, right? Because you heard people say speed, love, success. And so you go out and buy this home, and I'm just throwing out what the possible mortgage would be, but let's just triple it compared to what this is. So this is $2,500. This would be $5,000. So let's just say that it's basically $10,000, right, per month. So you're paying $10K per month, but you only make $10K, $15K, right? But you anticipate that you're gonna be making a lot more money. And I'm not saying that it can't happen, and I don't wanna discourage you, but what happens when you rush into a decision like that and you haven't added up all your other expenses that you have, going out, eating, car, possibly looking at where the economy is at the present moment. Not saying that you have to participate in if there's a recession, but you gotta use your brain, right? And you have to be able, just like if you have a business, you have to have some kind of foresight. You don't just go and spend a ton of freaking money and buying the best office with all the best furniture and all the bells and whistles, and you don't have any income coming in, or you don't have enough saved up for a rainy day. It happens, but you don't want to force that. You don't want to rush into that because you think speed, love, success. You get into this kind of situation and then something happens and now you can't afford that. Now you get foreclosed on, etc. And I can provide the same example. Let's say, ooh, this is a car, right? And this is a decent car, right? Let's just say, you're paying $800 a month for it. Let's just say that covers insurance, car note, everything. $800 a month, you're making $5,000-$6,000 a month. You can knock that out, right? But let's say, that's not good enough for you because you say, oh, this is ugly. Speed, love, success. So I don't know what this is, but this is another vehicle. But this one, with everything included, costs you, let's do $3K. This one costs you $3K per month, right? And you're still making around that same 5, 6, or 7, or 10K, but now you've gotten tired of this particular car, right? You're like, I don't even want this car anymore. The feeling has worn off, but the car note won't. You still have this $3K. And then maybe you've gotten your wife a vehicle that costs another $3K. So now you're $6K into it, right? And now you have this house that costs $2,500, $5,000, maybe even $10,000. I'm not saying you can't do it, but a lot of times we rush into things thinking that speed, love, success, and that by us rushing into it, that is some kind of way. It can make you commit for sure, because you're gonna have to make those payments or get it taken away. But I think sometimes we think that if we rush into something, that is a component of being successful, and that is absolutely not a component of being successful. There's tons of people who file for bankruptcy. There's tons of people who start businesses and they fail all the time. It doesn't mean that they're not successful, that they can't be successful. It simply means that they didn't have the right infrastructure. They didn't do the right planning. Something happened along the way where they didn't have the proper assistance and the guidance, they didn't have enough leads, they didn't have enough sales, etc., right? Or maybe they were just too many expenses. So think about that when you hear people say speed, love, success. It sounds good, but think and make sure that it fits into your situation. If you already have a ton of expenses, if you know you're a person who just likes to buy things and you get tired of them really quick, why rush into something else? There's always going to be people coming at you, buy this, buy this, buy this, buy this, buy this.
Good morning, sir. Would you like to buy some chocolate?
And if you have shiny object syndrome, you're gonna buy it. So don't allow someone to make you a fool, because fools are normally used as tools. And you don't wanna be a tool, and you absolutely don't wanna be a fool. Listen, if you like this video, let me know, subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you think. Let me know if you have some other questions about other businesses that you're involved in, or whether you have a question about payment processing. Anyway, if you have any questions whatsoever, let me know. This is Kajra. Appreciate you. Hope to see you again soon.